What are you doing up there? Dobgats, what are you doing? Welcome everybody, welcome to today's video. In the last video, we machined the torque converter, we welded it up, and now we're going to check for leaks. If there has been no leaks, it's been a week since I've been outside in the garage. If there's no leaks, we're going to bolt it up, do the last test, make sure the fitment is good. And if there's no clearance issues between the torque converter and the transmission, we're going to be good to go. Because, as I explained in the last video, the last thing you want to do is have pressure between the torque converter and the pump in your transmission, because if you start sandwiching them together, forcing them, you're going to damage the pump and your transmission is going to be toast. Now, of course, if you had a regular crank engine, you wouldn't have to worry about this issue, but since I have a long crank, these are the issues that I'm dealing with. So let's have a look at the torque converter, see if it's any leaking. Let's get started. If by chance, if I ever win the lottery and can get myself a bigger garage, I'm definitely going to have in-floor heating. As you can see, I had the leaf blower going outside earlier to clean off the snow. Of course, it pushes snow through the door, through any spot it can, even though it's warm. The garage, this concrete slab just never gets warm. That's why I hate coming outside in the wintertime. I usually don't spend much time on the weekends outside either. Like right now, it's minus 20, sun's out at least, but I might spend 8 hours total. Where in the summertime, you know, I might spend 24 hours in the garage. But I had to go pick up some welding gas, and while I was up picking up some welding gas, this was on sale. It's a 3/8 ratchet gun. We'll have a look at that in a little bit, but this is the torque converter that we put some oil in last week. Just lift her up. No oil on the bench. I think we're good. I'm going to do a look at this on my other channel, but for doing small stuff, this would be awesome. Not much torque though, like 35 foot-pounds of torque. It's good for like small fasteners and stuff, right? You know, if I'm removing the bolts off the valve cover or something, you know, doing little dinky stuff. That'll come in handy instead of using ratchets all the time. Alright everybody, this is the moment of truth. Let's get this torque converter fitted up and see if we're going to mate up. God, I hope this works. I don't want any issues. There we go. I think it's seated now. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit nervous. If we can't make this work, I've wasted so much time. That snout is looking sexy. 1 1/4. Good to go. I think there's gonna be a lot of manhandling here. Get this up and on there. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it won't be too bad. Maybe it won't be too bad at all. I just gotta raise up the engine. I just want to get some bolts started loosely here. Just want to get some started loosely. The key is, if you're bolting this up and you start to feel any resistance at all, immediately stop. Start carefully going on the two bottom bolts first. Start sucking it together carefully. At the same time, I'm going to go underneath and I'm going to feel the torque converter. If I can still move it by hand, that's a good sign. So I'm going to tighten these top ones up a little bit. Okay, looking good. I can still spin the torque converter. So now I'm gonna lift this up, rest the transmission hanging off the frame of the Jeep, and that'll give us better access. I should have about a 1/4 inch space. So that's what I got to check out on, and everything looks good. I got 3 little washers there. Because if you remember when I machined the torque converter and we fitted it up so that it would work out, the outside of the torque converter where the snout is was touching against the flex plate. And everything's still bolted up fine, and you can still go that route if you want. But I'm going to use those ultra thin spacers to put a little bit of space in there so it's not rubbing. Cause extra vibration, go through the unit, whatever. So let's just jack this up, get her over with. I just want to point this out because some people had mentioned it. And actually right now, theoretically, the engine lift is backwards because once upon a time, this was a handle for cranking and the handle broke and then the shear pin broke off. I just got a nail in there, which is ghetto. And I don't really do a whole lot of engine lifting, so I just left it. However, I just turned off this one here, and that cotter pin is, you don't want to put a lot of stress on that with an impact gun, so that's why I just use a wrench on it. This little crescent wrench is awesome. I bought it years ago when I used to have a boat because I needed to adjust the seals. I needed something that was wide enough and short. And this actually worked out perfect. I just need to adjust the balance a little bit more. So one final thing, you're looking at roughly 1/4 inch spacing. That's what I have, and I'm pretty happy with that. Well, that makes me very happy that this turned out good. Now we can start putting on the motor mounts, lift her up a little higher, put her in the frame, see how she's gonna fit. Getting pretty excited now. I'm hoping I only have to pull her once. Fit her up, pull her back out, paint the firewall, clean everything up, put it back in permanently, and start reassembling. This actually takes care of some guesswork. That's another port in the head there that I'm going to screw in. For the coolant temperature sensor from the factory Jeep harness, I need to get an adapter for that. I was actually going to drill and tap in here and put it in there, but now that I noticed that, I'm going to go that way. Moving along, got the motor mounts right here. There's 3 different placements which you could go. We're going to start off with the middle. Not too worried about placement going forward because we're going to use an electric fan, but I really don't want the firewall being right close to here. So that being said, let's set it up with the middle one and see what's going to happen. Grab a couple bolts to start off with. When I was at KMS Tools today, they had the midget one, or the stubby 3/8. And I almost bought it, except it only had 25 foot-pounds more torque than what this one did. And I wasn't not really overly impressed with this one, so I bought the ratchet instead. I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of the way these motor mounts go on, because once they're bolted to the engine, if you want to tighten up the mount itself, you gotta loosen up the bolts. Seems almost silly to me. I think for fitment purposes it'll work, but I think before it goes back in, I'm gonna weld some tabs on the back side so it'll kind of act like a wrench. I don't know why someone would build something like that you're not able to Oh well, whatever. Let's see how much higher we can go with the cylinder. I'll probably tilt her a little bit more so we clear the cross member and all that jive. Oh, I gotta go the other way. Need to tilt her up. Then down as we're getting into position. Roll this thing into place. This is where two people would come in super handy, okay? This is where two people would come in super handy. At this point, I'm gonna pull her back out, put the reach at 1/2 ton, and that should give me enough room to slide her back. I need to start bringing this thing, straighten her out. I don't have too much room left. I gotta make something happen here. I gotta get some more height. Whoops. Just noticed that. Ouch. I'm on the middle bolt holes pretty tight. I'm touching. But I also don't have the transmission jacked up either. I'm just gonna throw a jack underneath, but I think I'm gonna go full holes forward. I think that's the way I'm gonna route. Just gotta make things a little tight because I put a mark right here where the front of the fan was. On the other one, you can see that the LS motor is sitting quite a bit forward. It's jacked up the back. I don't know what angle I'm gonna have to have the transmission at yet, but we can figure that out later. So I just got my jack underneath there. You can already see by looking at it. Definitely gonna need a longer drive shaft in the rear to fit up, which is fine because you have to get new ones made anyways. And this one here is kind of pooched, but also the corners up there on the frame need to be notched out too because they're rubbing. Other than that, I think everything's starting to look pretty good. Wants to see, we just got it fitted up now. Kind of thinking, where am I gonna go? What am I gonna do? I really think I'm gonna move it one more notch forward. It's pretty tight back there. It's pretty tight, and this is your transmission shift cable here. I don't want it to get pinched, especially if you throttle rev it and it turns, and it's pretty tight back here. Like, it's not too bad, but there's lots of room back there. It's just these side pieces. Just pissing around with the throttle cable. It'll fit. It's way too long. I'm gonna have to start researching for a throttle cable, something a little bit shorter. I know this pin fits, but it's the wrong size. I mean, it would hold, but I'd rather have the kind that fits in there and loops around. More research. It's all these small things that are gonna like nickel and dime you to death. I'm gonna have a fire tonight. I haven't had a fire in a long time. Chop some kindling. My pile of woods underneath the snow there. Look at all that. Domgat, it's time for your daily beatings. Come on, let's beat you with the brush. Oh yeah, you love being brushed, Domgats. You love being brushed, I know. Come on, let's brush the belly. Is that your murder button? Hey, brushing your belly, the murder button. You're so spoiled. Took a while, got a fire going. Minus 20 outside, but the fire's warm. I can't see my beer. Anyways, it's Fire and Fury by Half Hitch Brewing Company. Oh, Nothing like the heat coming off the fire on a -20 winter night. As much as I want to enjoy a fire, it's so cold. My beer is freezing inside the can. Well, it's another beautiful day out, sunny out, but don't let that fool you because it's -18. As soon as you step outside, it's freezing. So today, I've just been kind of organizing a little bit. I've been making a list of things I got to do. Dust shield, throttle cable, notch tunnel, engine placement, steering bracket, trans dipstick. Because all those things come into play when you install it. Like the dipstick, not a big deal. You can modify that to make it go, but you definitely ideally don't want to modify too much. And looking at, got to get some headers, and that's probably what this is for now when I think about it. Probably for the collector tube or something like that, or headers go down around there. And I was thinking about modifying the steering bracket, and then it all of a sudden just came to me is that when I ordered these parts, this bracket came in, and I couldn't figure out what the hell this bracket was for. And then it came to me. The bracket actually fits right there, and then that goes over top and lines up. So you don't have to modify, which is nice. But look how close that's gonna be for the headers. I mean, this engine isn't exactly 100% placed in right. It looks like the engine needs to come forward a little bit to sit properly in the mount, but I'm just kind of fitting it up to get a baseline idea, but that looks like she's gonna be awfully close to the exhaust. I'm not sure if I like that. Also, if you notice, I got this table I picked up about a month ago. I've actually just had it in the back of my pickup truck until now, because for the next stage of the job, rebuilding the transfer cases, well, having 2 transfer cases on that bench is a little small. So I figure get the table. I can also use it camping. That's why I got the tarp there to cover it up. Help try to keep it as clean as possible. That way I could lay 2 transfer cases on top and start going over them. For sure I have it going the right way. Well, it's got a pretty good jam. That one was kind of tight there, and it seemed to kick out, but I just gave it a little bit of movement. See if we get this last one off. Hopefully my head didn't get in the view. Presto, just like that. So I just gotta clean this throttle body up. Just a little dirty. This looks like your idle air control there. What you want to do is don't use brake clean. Use throttle body clean or any kind of throttle body product to get inside there to clean her out. It won't damage electronics. I'm almost just curious to get the Steamline Delete kit. Might be easier in the long run. I don't know how coolant going through that's really going to affect the throttle body. Cleaned up a little bit better, especially in the butterfly region. If you open it up and there's a whole bunch of gunk in there, you definitely want to clean that out. Here's a sneak peek what the next video is going to be. Transfer case rebuild. So I got a 231C and a 231J that was in the Jeep with the slip yoke eliminator. What I'm going to do is with the rebuild kit is to mix parts from this one and put it in this one. That'll all be explained in the next video. Why I'm mixing and matching both of these transfer cases. Anyways, it's motherfucking beer time. I picked up this last night and had it during the fire. Fire and Fury, Half Hitch Brewing Company, one of my favorite brewers. This is actually a pretty good beer. Alright, it's motherfucking beer time. Gonna enjoy this beer because yesterday, outside and freezing cold, motherfucking beer time. That's a refreshing beer. And it's good. I could actually handle this one. Out camping, even having a fire in the yard, just keep on drinking these. This is a nice smooth beer. All that being said, we solved the problem of the long crank to the 4L60. That's one issue taken care of. We got the transfer case we got to deal with. We got to be able to build that in order to work with the Jeep. Other than that, we got some other issues we're going to deal with that I talked about earlier, and it'll all start coming together slowly. You just got to like pick away pieces, piece by piece, because as we keep on going, more issues are going to arise, and basically we cannot permanently mount this till we have everything. So basically, like I said before, we almost have to assemble the whole Jeep, check the fitment between the radiator and the engine, header clearances, all that bullshit. And I'm glad I figured out that mount with the steering. I'm sure by now, by the time that video came out, somebody probably would have like mentioned it. But my videos are always about 2 months apart, so it hasn't shown yet at the time of this, but I'm glad I figured out that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this product or this project finished and come to life, but we still got a long ways to go. These are a big project, and right now with it being the dead of winter, like I said before, I ain't spending a whole lot of time outside in the garage. You know, maybe 6 to 8 hours on the weekend total. Where in the summertime it's a hell of a lot more because I'm not paying to heat the garage. Anyways, motherfucking beer time. If you guys have any questions or comments, post them below. And I want to thank you for watching this LS Swap project.